Oh, I mean, there's no way people are gonna on their own be able to tell. Probably even now. I think reaching a point without, like, advanced types of AI, you need a comparable detection to tell because some of it's just so good.
Hi, my name is Demetri Panici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Ida Tank. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. I'm here with Max Eisinger, the founder and CEO of Red Flag AI. How are you doing today, Max?
Hey, Demetri, good to be with you.
Good to be chatting. So first of all, tell us a little bit about how you got into the world of AI, and tell us also what got you interested in making Red Flag.
Sure. Well, it's a long story that I won't bore you with all the details, but suffice it to say, I've been working in software development and AI related use cases for over 8 years now. Originally, it was focused on sentiment analysis and kind of large scale social listening projects. So, crawling the web at scale and for specific pieces of content. And that morphed somewhat naturally into content protection, which are focus at Red Flag these days. And the AI originally was to handle efficiency in crawling and content detection for the business cases we were dealing with. But more and more, we're dealing with AI generated content, separating that out from original content, non AI generated content, and validating the anti piracy results that our system is finding. So it's taken on a bunch of different meanings, which is pretty interesting. So ranging from core efficiencies to what we're actually looking to detect at Red Flag today.
What would you say is kind of the thing that sparked your interest in that area specifically?
Well, I mean, it's always interesting to try and do stuff at scale in an efficient and cheap way. I mean, that's kind of a classic problem in software, as I'm sure you know. So that was originally kind of the main use case is, how can we accomplish something that's been sought after for a long time, but really just didn't scale in a practical way. So people weren't able to really do it through typical kind of SaaS applications and software. There's a lot of manual intervention still required for some of these use cases until very recently. So that was kind of the initial interest. And then now at this point, the problems of authenticity and proving out the origination and ownership of content is incredibly important, and it's only going to become more of a problem. So it's an exciting area to work in right now.
Did you have a background in content at all, creating it or reviewing it, or?
I just watching a lot of it.
Okay, all right.
No, not creating it. No, no, definitely came at it more from the technical side. So it's kind of an interesting area to learn about too, talking to a lot of creators and publishers and yeah, content owners these days. It's good education.
Yeah, no, for sure. What do you think is the main issue right now with the world of content? It seems like you talked a little bit about how there's some decently you kind of alluded to the AI content. Give people a little bit of background who maybe don't know about that situation and how it's causing these copyright issues.
Sure. So we started working on content protection almost 4 years ago now. And the original focus, and even at that time, it was more kind of classic anti-piracy as everyone generally thinks about it, movies, books, software, music, not being leaked and not being shared in places where it shouldn't be. And this kind of endless whack-a-mole game of trying to remove it and having it pop back up and securing the content. And so automating that process and making it as efficient and scalable as possible, which was interesting to work on. But honestly, the world has changed a lot since even that time. And now it's, a lot more about live content, first of all. So that's far more of a pressing issue is the leaking of live streams and live events, sports primarily, handling how to trace premium live leaks for content owners and broadcasters. So that's become a big focus of ours in the last year, 2 years. And then content creators themselves, I mean, that whole industry and the creator economy has really blown up for quite a while now, but especially in the last 1, 2, 3 years, and the share of people who are making majority of their livelihood from their content has really exploded. And so the concern about protecting it and making sure that content creators aren't having their content re-uploaded without their authorization and therefore losing ad revenue when people in their audience are watching their content elsewhere. It's a huge concern. So that's been an interesting addition and a lens to see this through. And we've been working with YouTube and some of the other platforms directly to support the creators who are concerned about that. And then lastly, on the AI specific angle here, I mean, there's different parts of it that are AI related, but AI generated content and deep fakes, different depending on how you look at it, whether it's generated for malicious purposes or not, just differentiating between what is AI generated and what's not is more and more of a concern. And of course, like name, image, likeness, and copyright attribution for that is more and more of a concern. So that's something that we're also working on a lot these days.
Yeah, no, I feel that. What do you think is the main areas, or is it like all areas that you're seeing people kind of stealing these
Yeah.
pieces of content?
You mean you it's crazy. It's everything that you think of and more. I mean, at this point, especially on the creator side, it's not necessarily even the top premium shows or events. I mean, of course, that's a huge issue and kind of the classic piracy uh, landscape of leaks and people watching stuff, getting around paywalls, etc. But I mean, because it's a lot of this is based on just audience capture and shifting revenue from the original creator to anybody who can re-upload it. I mean, anything that has any audience of any significance is being ripped off and uploaded on all platforms by other parties. And in some cases, they're very well developed businesses that are doing this, and it's being done at scale by farms of accounts that are immediately stealing content from large audience channels and re-uploading it and cycling through different geographies. So, as is the case with piracy and cybersecurity stuff in general, there's some very competent bad actors. So it's keeping us on
Competent
our
bad
toes.
actors.
But yeah, that's how it is.
Competent bad actors is a great phrase. What would you think is kind of the main ways that how are you stepping in to help, and what are some of the practical things that you think are being changed on platforms to help with this in the future too? Or are you seeing anything from the platforms, or is it just kind of like you're kind of stuck where you're at?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think in a big picture way, one of the important things to do and one of our main priorities now and certainly for this year is just to make the access very readily available for anyone who wants to use it and essentially take what has been previously enterprise level security and solutions that required a lot of onboarding and hand-holding, white glove type of implementation, make that available to the general public and anyone who wants to use these solutions. So we're making it as self-service as possible. And that's a big trend, I think, for this, especially as it's a solution that's going to be requested by more and more people in the full range of the spectrum, from small creators to large enterprises. And as far as the platforms, it is definitely being taken more seriously. I would say YouTube is the best at handling this and prioritizing this at the moment, but others, Meta, X, and TikTok are starting to take it more seriously too. We're working, as I said, directly with YouTube, and we handle tons of coverage on the other platforms. So I'm familiar with some of the tools that are coming out. There's going to be an interesting NIL solution on YouTube. It's coming out in the spring or the summer that will be able to be used by individuals for, well, as the name says, their name or their image and likeness being used without their authorization by other channels. So that's going to open up a whole can of worms, but also a good set of features to protect um, people's people's content.
Yeah. What are you kind of looking to improve in your product this year versus how it's operated in the past, or like in this past year?
Yeah, I mean, besides the onboarding kind of self-service aspect of it, which is, definitely a big focus, I would say it's the ability to handle all different types of content for all different devices. So, I mean, this might get a little into the weeds on how we do watermarking and fingerprinting and the detection of content, but obviously with something like this, the main thing you want to avoid are any false positives. So we definitely pride ourselves on the very high standard we hold the solutions to, and the rigorous testing that all the detection methods go through to make sure that what we're linking and matching up is what we think it is. There are many different ways in which content is shared around the world. So different formats and protocols, codecs and devices that the content and therefore the watermarking and security has to be compatible with. And we have, 99% of that covered, but there's always more. So there are a few things on the horizon, especially some codecs and formats that are used in other countries that we'll be adding this year to expand the coverage, doing a lot of work in India and Southeast Asia right now. Um, so, yeah, that's going to be a big focus for us the next few months.
Interesting. So do you think that there's like anything that's going to happen in the realm of, I guess, the content that I mean, let me take it back a step. So you're working directly with YouTube.
Yeah.
That's what you said, right?
Mhm.
What's that kind of experience been like?
Oh, it's been great. We started really doing it in earnest just a few months ago, but they're very um, collaborative and appreciate the help in providing the support to content creators on the platform who have these concerns. They have a lot to manage, so I think having third parties do this for them is a priority from what I can tell. Talking to their team, so yeah, only good things to say on that for sure. And I do see that happening more at other platforms too. I mean, we've talked a lot with the other major platforms too, and I think it's going to be more and more of a priority um, this year and certainly into next year on that front too. But they're very supportive, and they know that both the classic, piracy and re-uploading issues are more important to more people now. It's not just the big studios, and also the AI generated content is crazy, and nobody really knows what to do about it and how to handle it, whether to be concerned about it, how to monetize it, etc. So that's a big concern, and I think an open problem. And I guess I should add on in terms of things we're working on. This is going to be something we're releasing towards the middle of the year. There's a big demand for what we're calling a red flag shield product that will essentially make video content created by anyone very difficult to train models on and essentially much more expensive to train on in terms of the GPU time required, and provided in the form of essentially encryption where the content owner can provide a key to decrypt or remove the shielding on the content that would remove the additional expense to incentivize AI companies and model companies to actually pay the original owners for their content before they train on it. So that's going to be a big focus as well.
How does that work?
Getting them to pay for it.
Well, no. How does it like? How did you met? Yeah. How did one?
How
How
does
did that come to your mind, and how does it work?
well, I mean, it's a huge problem. We work with publishers, for example. I guess is how we came into this in the recent months. We work with a lot of book publishers
Okay.
in terms of classic anti-piracy, finding files and textbooks and books of all types, audiobooks that are appearing where they shouldn't. And there was that major, Anthropic lawsuit last year where a lot of the major publishers won a settlement on the training on a lot of their content. And so that was a conversation we were part of quite a bit and raised some interesting questions. And in researching kind of the state of the art of what's been done to protect content from uh, malicious training, there really hasn't been much beyond some work on static images that's been done in academic content, but not really for other type of content. So the idea here is essentially introduce a level of noise that can't be removed that will confuse the training process and prevent the models from being able to effectively train um, on any given piece of content in a predictable way as quickly as they normally would.
Hmm.
And that is something that you can throw a lot of money at and potentially get around, but it becomes very economically cumbersome and they don't want to spend more money. So that's the thinking there.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. What is your personal kind of favorite thing that you've managed to do to help someone out? Maybe it was a content creator or otherwise that kind of is validated why you're doing what you're doing, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, a lot of this content creator work has been super gratifying because we've seen the amount of money that's going back to these creators, and it can be quite significant. I mean, in one case, we returned more money to a channel than they had made in a month, legitimately, which
Oh,
is
wow. That's crazy.
so, that happened recently, and it's a significant amount of money that people are losing to these reuploads, and it's basically free money for them. So it's a service they're all very happy about. It's nice to be on that side of the issue and actually getting people
Yeah, I
back.
doubt anyone you're working with is like mad for any reason, really. Like, oh, you're getting me money back? Thanks.
No, they're definitely happy about that. Yeah, so that's been great, and hopefully it leads to, I think a wider adoption of this across platforms and across the internet, where you know shutting stuff down and removing content there. It definitely needs to be done in some cases. Piracy, contentious issue for sure, but people put a lot of time and work into creating these things, and they should be compensated for them. So that's that. But just removing stuff and this whack-a-mole approach, which has been how this has been handled for the history of the internet, it's not the best solution. And having
Yeah.
a system where you can actually just monetize the results and get people compensated is much more important. And I think in the long term will be more impactful.
Do you think that there's going to be? I'm curious as well. I know individual content creators is one thing, and I think they should be probably prioritized. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of commercial content out there that just gets repurposed. So like I go on YouTube a lot, right? I create YouTube
Mhm.
content. Fair enough. I want to be on there. The,
Yep.
my shorts feed is literally just filled with clips of different TV shows sometimes that have that same slowed edit music. That's like, it's called No Bati Dao. I finally found what it does, and it actually kind of slaps. The song's actually pretty good. But what's funny is like some random clip from a show like Shameless or some random like cop show or like Chicago Med or whatever, and someone says something, and then like it does a flashing screen with the music hitting the bass drop. And I'm just kind of curious, what is YouTube doing about that? Do you know anything? You have any insight on that?
Sure. Oh yeah, and on TikTok, there's a lot of this like star sparkle filter stuff that people do to get around. Yeah, I know what you mean. And
It's like, oh, it's unique. I'm like, bro, this is not unique. You're literally just
hey, I mean, it's tricky. That's the thing is, it's inherently, kind of going back to the competent actors, and sometimes people don't even mean much by it, but it's an arms race in terms of one tool to get around whatever the detection method is, and then you have to combat that and come up with the solution. So there's always going to be, uh, you know, somebody coming up with some new technique, but it is getting very, very easy to accurately detect
Who it is.
content at a super granular level. I mean, that's what we spend a lot of our time doing with the watermarking side of things, and the filters and the clever bass drops. The days are a little bit numbered with that, but
Yes. Thank God, bro. Thank God. I'm so annoyed by it. It's not even funny.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's my entire shorts feed. It went from not being that whatsoever, and then I was genuinely interested in a couple of the clips from the shows,
Yeah,
and then what ends up happening is it's just my whole feed, and I'm like,
yeah. No, you're done. You gotta give it a. You can come back.
I'm cooked. I'm just absolutely cooked. And I was like, I wasn't planning on that. Thanks though.
Yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting one. But I mean, soon it's all going to be AI generated versions of the same stuff, and that's why
Mm,
really, again, it's more going to be about attribution than trying to shut everything down because they're going to be a million different shades of the same content, and it's going to be more important to like recognize the whole and then attribute the money and have economic incentives for handling that. So,
mm. What do you think is the best part about doing what you do?
yeah, we do. I mean, working with a lot of different interesting creative people is definitely the most interesting part of it, and seeing kind of the inner workings of the production and the distribution and how people think about what to make. Again, ranging from very niche, small creators around the world, different cultural communities too. That's been pretty fun. See how different countries think about which platform and types of content they want to create, and then ranging all the way up to the biggest studios and broadcasters. And I mean, it's pretty interesting, pretty complicated stuff that they figured out, workflows and distributing this stuff live. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It seems like it. I find what you're doing really cool. What are you trying to? I guess I would say do actively right now to make it accessible? I know you said you're doing a self-serve product that's probably coming out. So how are you helping to make this more accessible? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, so for the creators themselves, any individual channel on different platforms, they'll be able to sign up and complete the entire onboarding process in a matter of minutes so that they can start testing out how much money they would earn back and recover through the monetization and how many takedowns they can get across the internet on places that maybe they can't monetize yet, but they don't want their content leaked to. So that's, you know, the next immediate step that'll be available later this month. And for larger enterprises, I mean, we've really reduced the onboarding time for even large live sports premium content owners who want to watermark content and track its distribution and even shut down leaking accounts or fake accounts to a matter of weeks, which previously it has taken sometimes over a year to do this. And that's going to be really nice to roll out to more and more broadcasters and streaming services in the next few months. So those are things that we're kind of focused on right now.
Okay, nice. What is your kind of opinion overall on how you can continue to grow with these different platforms? As I'm sure some are there internal systems improving on this at the same time, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. So we work closely with the internal systems and kind of layer on top of that, and in some cases inform them at different platforms. I mean, I think there's almost going to be as much like inter-platform interfacing as work we're doing within each individual platform. So, I mean, as every content owner and distributor knows, you want to put your stuff out everywhere. So really the most common request from content owners is, can you handle multiple platforms? I mean, people have their favorite and one they care about the most, but being able to be like interoperable between all of them and have kind of one central view where you can see the monetization, the protection of your content across everything. That's what we're providing to everyone and focus on improving this year in terms of that kind of central command station. They can see everything. across all platforms and take whatever actions they want without having to check a dozen different things and, have a bunch of headaches.
Nice.
So trying to reduce the number of points of friction there.
Yeah, totally. Um, I guess kind of curious your general opinion on some more AI stuff in general. What do you think has been the general positive and negative impacts of AI content generation after spending so much time seeing this, right? Because I'm sure
Yeah.
some individuals themselves are using AI to generate some content inside of their own videos and stuff like that. And then obviously there's this other side that you deal with. What do you think is kind of the two sides of the coin as you've experienced it, probably the most in depth out of the majority of people?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. It's amazing, obviously. It's pretty crazy what is possible now and what people are able to make. And I think it's just obviously at the beginning of a whole new kind of art form where people are going to be creating a lot of their own content directly from these models, and they're going to want to protect that too. So uh, that's all cool. I'm a fan of all that stuff. I think there's also, like you said, some kind of intermixing of the AI generated stuff with traditionally generated content. We're seeing a lot of that with advertising, which of course always leads the way with some of this. So customizing certain advertising ad placement stuff within content using AI generated tools. I've met a number of companies that are doing that recently. And yeah, I mean, putting different characters in different universes. I mean, mixing different creative content together. That's obviously a huge thing people are doing now, and has a lot of attribution questions related to it as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't need to tell you, this stuff's happening just at a crazy pace. In fact, I think I was just seeing the most popular streamer on Twitch is AI generated now, as of like last week.
What
So
do they make?
how much do they make?
No. What's that was a
Oh,
poorly framed question. What type of content do they
I was
make?
like, I wonder what that. Yeah, how much they make.
Yeah, I actually want to know the first question I asked, but
You know what? I don't know. I just saw like a headline about this,
it's a
but
ridiculously stupid headline. That actually kind of triggers me. But hey, if they make interesting stuff and it's like, yeah,
yeah, but
I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I think there's going to be a lot of that. I mean, I don't have anything to say on that and anyone else doesn't already know, but it's really just moving at a crazy pace, and it's exciting. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, fair enough. What do you think is the stuff that you're most looking forward to in the well actually I asked on the positive note, right?
Mhm.
So with negatives, what are other have been in your opinion some of the cool things that you've seen on the AI generated side that didn't go across the line, didn't just turn into a no bati dao AI edit? Like what does kind of get allowed because you go, oh, that actually is unique and interesting.
I mean, I think a lot of this stuff is super creative, and people are going to want to own the attribution and the rights for, just as they do with any other type of art. I mean, I definitely believe that's happening. There's obviously a lot of the slop out there, but I think the proportion of legitimate art created this way is only going to increase. So there are a bunch of different types of it. I am definitely not an expert in all of it. I'm not following all of it super carefully, but I've seen videos, images, music that is all very high quality. So I mean, it's an interesting thing to come to terms with, but I think people are definitely going to want uh, to attach their name to the stuff they created with those tools more and more this year. And I think there'll be platforms more and more dedicated to that type of content, or sections of platforms, um, and filtering within platforms. I think that's going to be an interesting thing. We have had some discussions with a few of the big social platforms about that. Just in the near future, in the next year or so, how can filters be applied broadly to, exclude anything AI generated from a feed, which is a tough thing to do accurately. watermarking and other detection will help with that, but uh, that's going to be an interesting part of this too. So when people do or don't want to see that type of thing, like filtering is going to have to get very nuanced to handle
Yeah.
that.
I was going to say, do you think it's going to become the AI generated content's going to become so unique at some point that like kind of we're going to be in a position to not be able to do much about it? Obviously, you know, have full optimism on the prospects of what you're doing as a company. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, no, I
it's
hear you.
yeah.
Do much about it as far as like tell whether it's AI generated.
Yes, tell whether it's AI generated, and there might be a level of where they can claim like true uniqueness.
Oh, I mean, there's no way people are gonna on their own be able to tell. Uh,
Okay.
Probably even now. I think
Yeah.
it's reaching a point. Yeah, without, I mean, not to totally sell our stuff, but it just is what it is. I think without like advanced types of
AI.
watermarking and AI, you're
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, you need a comparable detection to tell because some of it's just so good. Uh,
Just to kind of speak to this at kind of a meta level, what I have noticed is interesting to me is you are working in such a way where you're essentially a um you're one of many companies that I've noticed in this year. So you are kind of the counter to a lot of what's going on.
right.
So in AI, something I've noticed is there is a bunch of opportunity out there
Mhm.
for creating a response piece of AI to an output,
Right.
right? And you're kind of sitting there in an interesting position because you know you're working with uh, the response to AI generated content by analyzing AI generated content. Do you think at kind of a fundamental level, then that level of discernment is only possible due to it knowing how like I'm trying to ask functionally, how does the AI itself, since it is a visual, able
Mhm.
to determine that it was a AI visual versus how a human can determine whether it's an AI visual or not? Because I'll be honest, I saw like a behind the scenes thing that was popping up on my screen from the new Avatar movie, and it almost looked like they were all dressed up with makeup and stuff like that. And then I went, wait a second, don't they mocap this?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And then I looked at the comments and people were like, oh my gosh, I just realized like after watching this for 60 seconds, it was AI. So don't get me wrong. I get how the human eye could be, you know, confused, but how is it that you as a company, I'm genuinely curious. How does the AI, you don't have to give away the secret sauce, but is it like mechanistically, how does it figure out that it is AI?
That's a very good question, and got to gets to the point of all this and kind of the fundamental thing that we and everyone else doing this has to grapple with because there are really two sides of the coin. Deep fake was kind of the term everyone used to talk about this until the last year or two, but you know, uh, just to use that as the example, you can try and see whether something is AI generated or deep faked and see if it has six fingers or whatever, when those were the tells. So there's kind of approaching it from the top down and analyzing the pixels and any, aberrations. And that's just inherently not going to be perfect. And it's really always going to be behind the cutting edge generation. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, and we have done it, and uh, there are requests always to have detection methods like that. But the surefire way to do it is own it from kind of the bottom up and have the initial filtering at the point of creation. And this gets into a whole thing about all the different ways people create content, but stamping it, watermarking it, however you want to describe it, at the point of origination to say, this is how this content was created. It was created with this model, it was created with this piece of hardware, it was submitted through this account, tracking the whole chain of provenance and ownership. Um, and that's going to be the most reliable sense of trust people have. I mean, we work with some of the large news organizations, and I mean, they're having a really hard time right now. And we're part of this organization called C2PA, content provenance and authenticity. And they, on the news side, somebody could send uh, any type of video to the Associated Press and say, "Hey, I just took this video about this
Yeah,
blind
that's bad.
child," and they don't know, like so.
That's really bad.
Yeah, they want to, but they want to be able to have methods of submission where it's like, when was this created and how was it created? Which piece of hardware, which channel? So, long way of saying, I think there's going to be a series of checks, both like the trail and the provenance of how something was created, what the original source of creation was, whether it's a model or a camera, and then layer on top of that the top down, like, are there six fingers? And all that together is going to be how people know what's going on. But it's a really interesting problem. I mean, and it's not solved yet.
Yeah. When do you think it could be solved?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where, in a sense, it never will be 100%. But I think there's going to be more reorganization around, uh, you know, I'd say kind of less closed garden ecosystem, which has been Web 2.0, internet of the last 15 years type stuff. Bless you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and more, there's going to have to be more adoption of shared standards around this stuff, which is already happening. I think within the next 2 to 3 years, there will be more clearly adopted standards around authenticating the provenance of stuff. Some of it's that C2PA group I mentioned. Some of it's going to be, you know, other types of protocols that everyone's going to have to work with, just as they did with, HTTPS and other things. So,
Okay. Well, cool. What do you think some of the cool new trends that are going to happen in general with AI are going to happen this year?
well, I mean, I guess getting away from the content stuff, I think there's a lot of cool stuff within companies and software development, which I'm sure you talk to a lot of people about. But
Yes, absolutely. I talk about that a lot. Yep.
yeah, I mean, a lot of those tools are super exciting and interesting and save everyone a lot of time with busy work and um, boilerplate stuff. So I'm a fan of all of that for sure. I think a lot of it this is gonna be a big year for that for sure, in my opinion. I mean, there were interesting tools, but it was very Wild West, and kind of every week it seems like there's been a different thing for whether it's coding or, operational stuff or
Yeah, I was
sales.
going to say, what's kind of the, I mean, on your company internally, what do you use a lot of to kind of save time, do more?
I mean, we use a lot of different automated software development tools. I mean, we've
Okay.
used um, you know, a few of the different kind of sampled different ones, but the classic and Codex and other things, just to especially automate testing, CodeRabbit, for like PR reviews and other things like that. I've tried a few. And the quality of the core team, I think, matters more than it maybe has in the past, because if you have a really good core team, then you can do a lot with these tools, and maintain a similar size team, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Do you
Uh,
think we're going to see some like leaner teams this year?
oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Are you pretty like, are you white pilled on like what that means though? Like, do you feel like well, I keep using that term. Do you know what white pilled means?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay, I got it. Sorry. It's like I am like at 60-40 people actually aren't getting what that means
I
recently, which,
also chronically online to me, so
okay, well, listen, as long as we're on the same page, brother, then we're good.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've always been a small company in terms of headcount, and that's been a focus since day one. About we want to stay as lean and small as possible, because for a bunch of reasons. But I'm a big fan of that. And yeah, I am very optimistic about all of that. And I think when used right, it makes everything better, and makes people's lives easier, because there's less of annoying tasks and busy work. So
Yeah, totally. I agree with you. I think everybody in a practical level probably wants that.
Right.
but
I mean,
but
yeah,
there
people don't want to negatively affect them and take away from things they enjoy doing, but I haven't really seen that happen yet in our world specifically.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are you most excited? What are you actually using internally that you're a big fan of right now at the company? The main like if you had to name one favorite AI tool that you use yourself.
Oh, I mean, it's nothing special. I don't think anything we're doing is something that other places are using. I mean, it's mostly the big ones. I mean, honestly, having Codex for coding partner, I think has been the most impactful, and
Okay.
some of these other two tools for uh like PR review and testing on the software side has been nice. I mean, it saves
Okay.
people probably 20 to 30% of time. I mean, the rest of it's just Claude and ChatGPT, and I think that just saves time with market research. But like on the sales side, I don't really have a specific one to recommend, but
All good. No, I just kind of that's been my question is just asking people who are AI founders kind of what is their favorite tool they're using right now because you guys are kind of on the forefront and maybe you've seen some stuff. I mean, the thing is, I realize we're in a bubble, but like you and I individually and others, but even in our little bubble, we all seem to know some unique
yeah. Oh,
stuff,
you know
which
what's a
is
cool
interesting.
tool is Granola, this note taking app, which
Granola.
yeah, I'm like a horribly unorganized person in many cases. So
Okay.
it's been nice and recommended to me by organized people who I trust. So they yeah, it just kind of a in browser tool. It will transcribe calls, but in a very intelligent way and organize them, provide follow up. And I've seen a few of those, and this one seems like it's the best.
Nice. Well, I really like. I use Grain. That's my meeting recorder of choice. To be fair, I have kind of learned that there is some opportunity out there to kind of make your own if you know how to do some basic coding with like just Lovable or whatever. Like it's actually so easy to kind of hack something together nowadays. And I'm actually about to switch over to like my own thing that's going to manage my email or whatever. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah, it's a fun time out here to just kind of
Yeah, it's always a new thing. A lot of new
it's always a
toys.
new thing, and you can even make your own new thing for like $50 or less. So,
Yeah.
um, well, I think that's kind of all the questions I have for you. I just want to kind of close things out by asking you to plug what you're doing, so we can get everyone over there.
Sure. Well, yeah, thanks. Those are great questions and good discussion. I guess I would just encourage anyone who's interested to go over to our website, redflagai.co. You can request a demo, reach out on email, set up a meeting, and soon have that self service for any
Heck yeah!
creator interested.
And if you see any no Batidao edits of
I'm on
Shameless
there.
on your YouTube,
Yeah.
downvote it. And actually, wait a second. Don't downvote it. Mark it as spam or whatever the heck that YouTube
Right.
feature is. Because guys, if you dislike something, it helps the algorithm. Just fun fact for your people. It's something that has been bothering me as a YouTuber for years. It's like it's like people would dislike a video I made, and I'd be like, guys, this is not what you do. You're actually helping me. So thanks, bro. But
Yeah. And dude, tell them the secrets now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. All right, man. Thank you so much. Everyone, make sure to go and check out Red Light AI. And with that being said, also make sure to leave a like, comment, and let us know what your thoughts were on the product and what your thoughts are on in general with all this cool AI stuff. Whether you're bullish on this, whether you've been seeing the no Batidao edits, or whether I'm the only one who's been scarred for life by this being on my feed. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.